morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to go back to our story about Catarina and her 10 fingers. Remember, this is Catarina, and she lived in a village where the Sunday school class was outside of her house, outside of her backyard. And she really wanted to go. She was so sad when her parents told her that she was not allowed to go to Sunday school. So her dad ended up letting her go, and he told her that she could go 10 times to learn a story for every finger that she had. She was so excited that she could join her friends and to learn about Jesus. And there is the Sunday school teacher telling a story. She just put the pictures up on a tree, and all the kids would sit around and listen to the story, and Catarina loved it so much. But then Catarina had to move. And what was so sad about that was she had only heard 9 stories. So she still had a story that she had yet to hear to get all of her 10 stories. So when she moved to her new village, she asked the friends, "Where do you guys go to Sunday school?" And they said, "What Sunday school? We don't know anything about this Sunday school you speak of." And she said, "Oh, it's where you can go and hear stories about Jesus. And I know 9 stories." So they said, "Catarina, can you please tell us the stories that you know about Jesus?" So Catarina found a palm tree, put up a sign, and started telling her friends the stories. But they had to use their imagination because, see, her posters and signs had no pictures on them. So the kids had to imagine the stories that she was telling. So today we go back to our story. Now, all of the stories that Catarina knew, she told over and over again until many of the children knew them by heart. The children enjoyed the stories so much that they named Catarina's fingers after them. There was the shepherd finger, the manger finger, the temple finger, the disciple finger, the sick finger, the lunch finger, the preaching finger, the cross finger, and the resurrection finger. But always the last finger remained nameless. "Oh, I wish I knew a story for the last finger," Catarina would say, but she did not, so she would start all over again with the first finger. One day, a missionary came to Catarina's new village. She gathered the women and children together and began to tell a Bible story. "Oh, we know how that ends," the children would say. "That is Catarina's 3rd finger." The missionary did not know about Catarina or her fingers, so she started to tell another story. That is the Catarina's 6-finger story," one excited little boy called out. "Who is Catarina?" the missionary asked, "and what is this all about her fingers?" So the children knew the fingers. The shepherd finger is about Joseph. He's Jesus' father, earthly father, and that was who took Mary to the manger for Jesus to be born. And then there's the temple finger. That's the story of when Jesus was a boy and his parents took him to the temple. And then there's the disciple finger. Jesus had disciples, followers that would go around with him, and they were his friends, and they would spread the good news with him. And then we have the sick finger. What do you think, boys and girls, the sick finger is about? That's right. It's about healing and the healing that Jesus did. And then, of course, we have the lunch finger. And we all know that story about when Jesus took the little boy's lunch and he fed thousands of people with just a few pieces of bread and some fish. And then we know the preaching finger, because that's what Jesus would do. Crowds of people would come to hear him preach and tell of how they could be saved and who God was and who loved them and how they were supposed to treat each other. And then we have the cross finger, which we just celebrated Easter. And we know the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross for us. And then, of course, the resurrection finger. And that's, again, we just celebrated Easter, the empty tomb, because Jesus beat death. And now we go back to the finger that doesn't have a story for it. So tomorrow, hopefully, as we wrap up this week about Catarina, we will find out if she gets a story for her last little finger. See you later.